Okay, let's take a look at this Panasonic JU-256A216P 3.5-inch floppy drive. From somewhere around 2001. Let's take a look underneath this metal cover. Okay, inside here we have a little stepper motor here, which moves the heads back and forth, the read and write head. This in here. You get a little screw piece here. Here you have your read and write heads. A flat flex connecting them down to the main board. Nice and spring loaded. Pretty decent spring tension on them. Let's see. That's some part of the eject mechanism. That's that. This is a little interesting thing. Must be some way to tell if there's a floppy in. Look like some pretty nasty solder joints. Okay. Here's the back side. You have your power in. You have the stepper or servo. It's got to be a stepper. And old school IDE ribbon cable to connect it. I still can't get the board out yet. So we'll try taking off the front piece here and see what else we can yank out of here. Nice little spring right there to shut the door. It's only on one side. Okay, pulling off the front, you can start to see where the floppy would slide in. Floppy would go right in here. And you have this whole piece down here is part of the motor. That floppy would be right in between here, between the two read and write heads. Seeing that didn't get us very much further. You can see there's a whole circuit board across the bottom. We'll see what else we can yank out of here to get any further. Okay, now we got this top piece loose. Okay, when you put a floppy in here, the floppy would come in, push this back, which would release this button. Okay, in order to get a floppy back out, your floppy's still pushing on this. So you'd push this down, release that arm, and it looks like it would also release when that came back forward. Try to do this again. This little piece would move out of the way and allow the floppy to come out. I'll zoom in and let you see that one more time. So. Oh, that's not it. There you go. That's actually pretty cool. That little washer was slipped on top of this little pig. There's a little bit of a notch in it, and that's all that holds that spring on. Now I should be able to pull this right out. There's that little piece. There's a spring somewhere on the side. Right there you can see the spring. Hooked, and there it came off. There's a real light grease right there. Here was that spring that was holding that top piece in, that sliding piece. Really small string, but pretty good tension on it. Okay. There's not a whole lot left in here. This head's still in here, this head's still in here. The motor's still in place. I'm just going to start unscrewing stuff till I can get the board out. Okay, here we have the bottom reed head. There's where that stepper motor connected. Oh, that's different. So that stepper motor actually wasn't even into a threaded bushing. They're just using this little thin piece of wire here, or metal, to act as a nut. That's different. And then there's this little pretty smooth going slide that this would slide back and forth on. And the ribbon cable came down to the board. Only one-sided. There you go. And this is the top one. Same thing. Same type of head. Ribbon cable. This is the one that had that spring on it, so you just got a little piece of spring steel here too. Same thing. Okay. The top of the motor here. If you come underneath, on this little bearing that is around the shaft, just like that spring before, and that's all that holds it on. Because now, just a little bit of magnetic tension on there, that comes right off. The interesting thing to note though is that little tang right there, passes right over this inductor or coil, and it must count the revolutions and speed. Now you can see the whole motor underneath, all the windings, the coils. And then this is a magnet all the way around the outside here. Okay, so I pulled these 3 screws out. Now that whole board will lift out. And you actually doesn't appear to be able to keep the board intact. So, single layer board, single sided. This must have been put in first. And then in the production period, they just soldered one of these sides on. So I ain't gonna get out a soldering iron for this, so we're just gonna yank that apart right now. So there's the case. All aluminum. Must be cast because you don't see any machine marks. That must just be pressed in. Doesn't mean anything to me. Okay. So that's how these boards are. We got our motor deck here that's soldered on. Okay, let's zoom in here. Can't really see any numbers on there. Oh, right there maybe. Not a whole lot on this board. Looks like an opto isolator. I guess the point went. Looks like an opto isolator to protect the data side from the voltage side. Got your 3 positions for your stepper motor running through. Some voltage lines that go through this opto isolator, maybe. One's a ground. Got one capacitor. I got some pretty nasty solder joints right there. And backside is just blank. So we have one chip right there. So these are the coils on the motor, but these are part of the coil too, I think. And then there's these little switches right here on this side for, I'm assuming, I think one side was size of the drive, or size of the floppy disk, and the other side was if it was locked, read only. Because then there's another one right over here, just a single one. Another thing about this board, they didn't put something here. They didn't put something here, but that slot's routed out. Looks like maybe a transformer or something. I don't know. What's that? Okay, let's zoom in closer and take a look. Okay. So there's a number on that chip. Little resistor right there in the center. Interesting. PC, AT, P2. That's on the inside of the board. Must be test points or something. I don't know. Power. 5-volt ground. Oh, that's different. $34. Huh. So those slots that are routed in there must be to get to some of these points on the inside, I would assume, when the board's bolted down to check it. Huh. Okay, so that's that board. Grab this board. Here's this board. There's our flat flex coming from our other board. And there's that chip. Bunch of little resistors in there. That's kind of different. The little connector between the two windings. there's another little connecting joint. Different. There's the back side of that board. Not much. That's it for this video.